Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm DM Scotty. This is part 2 of the video for crafting a hay wagon. Remember that you can use this kind of technique to craft just about anything. Just some ingenuity and some cardboard and a few pieces of wood and let your imagination go wild. Just think about easy solutions to this type of problem in your games. So let's get on to finishing the hay wagon. The mound I put in the back of the wagon has dried, and you can see that it's hard now. I'll tap it. So it's totally hard now. And before I move to the next step, I wanted to show you a close-up of that. So here in my little wagon, I've got the mound, but I really don't have the hay texture on that mound. So what I'm going to do, there are several things I could do. I could use the hot glue gun, but this is so small and hard to reach into that might be hard to do the glue gun with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this stuff that's it's a Liquitex modeling paste, flexible modeling paste, and I'll just paint that on. It'll be really easy for me to get a really nice hay texture on there. Now I'm going to use a good stiff brush, grab a glob of the texture, and I'll just fairly thickly put it on there. And you're not trying for anything now, you're just trying to get it on there. Okay, so I've got my texture on there. Now I'm going to do a close-up so you can see what I'm doing here. So now I just kind of have a big goopy mess on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a toothpick and start pulling it through gently through the texture. And my goal is to make it look like hay. Okay, so I've got a nice texture on there now. What I'm going to do is, you can see that I have these posts on the wagon, and I'm going to address that at the end. So stay tuned for that. And there's our hay wagon so far, and we'll move to the next step. Here's my wagon. I've got a base painted black. So what I'm going to do now is paint it with a dark brown, and I'm going to make it fairly wet, and then just go over the whole wagon. And now that we've got the wagon done, we will let that dry, and then we'll move on to the lighter brown. I'm going to hit the wagon with the nutmeg brown now, which is a lighter brown. And just maybe going to hit the straw with it. And there we go. We'll let that dry, and then we'll move on to the next painting stage. Now I'm going to dry brush on a golden brown. Okay, I've got it on the card. I'm even going to put some on the hay area. So there we go. So I got that all dry brushed. I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'll add some highlight to the hay to make it stand out. So I'm gonna pick out the hay in the back of the wagon, and I'm gonna use a very light tan, and I'm just gonna do that on my brush. And I've got a very frizzy brush, and that'll kind of help distribute. Okay, now I'm going to use like a very light yellow. See how that's really picking that out. So there we go, we've got our hay in the back of the wagon. Now I have several options as far as putting the edging around the posts, but I thought it might be fun to do like a twine to make it look like a rope. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my glue gun, glue the first one. Okay, now you can see I've got the rope on. Now I'm going to, I have some extra string, so I'll just cut that off. All right, so there we go. We have our completed hay wagon. So there we go. Maybe a better look at it. And there we go. We are all done. Nice prop for our games. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the DM's Craft. I just wanted to give you a little update on the wagon. I had created it for a scenario that I had where my players were on the outskirts of a village and some ogres were attacking, and they had to move towards the center of the village. This farm was on the outlying edge of the village, and I had some a cottage there, and I had an outhouse which one of the peasants was hiding under or in, and the wagon there. And as the player characters approached, to their horror, one of the ogres picked up the wagon and threw it at them. Came whizzing through the air. Unfortunately for one of the players, it hit them smack in the front and knocked them down, shattered the wagon, but gave quite a bit of damage to the poor player character who got hit by the wagon. So just a word of note, players, watch out for flying wagons, and I'll see you next time on the DM's Craft.